Welcome everybody to this week's community call. We hold these calls on a bi-weekly basis on every other Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. UTC. Today we have a lot of exciting updates from our fellow team members at the DAO and Hugh from the foundation team. First off, we will have Kaylee showcasing the new DAO homepage, which I'm personally very excited about also because it's a great way for new members to learn about how we run things at the DAO and for you to learn about more ways to contribute. Lee will then talk about the recent developments in the Nexus Mutual governance. We have quite a lot of discussions about new cover products, about deprecating some cover products, and our funding with the DAO teams. Then we will have Claudio from DAO Marketing for the first time. So welcome, Claudio, and he will talk about the role of marketing for growth. Then we have all the other updates that we usually have. We have Hugh with critical updates from the foundation. We have an analysis of the last week in cover sales, and we look at active coverage, summarize the recent governance discussions on the forum, and then members have the opportunity to ask any open questions. Let's kick things off with Kaylee.
The last funding round, the operations team set itself a goal of increasing transparency between the Nexus Mutual teams and our community, and to try and help make it clear what Nexus Mutual is, what the DAO is, and how we're all working towards the same goal. So we have worked together with the community and the marketing teams to put together a landing page which will hopefully help our members and the wider community have a sense of what the DAO is, what our mission is, and how we're trying to achieve it. So it should also serve as a homepage to find out any other further information, which is split across quite a few different platforms, such as our forum, our app, the docs, Dune Analytics, etc. So it's a good place to start to come and find out what we do and why we do it. So if you just gently scroll down, I'll talk to what's on there. So we've got a bit of an overview of how we set up, what we're doing, how the foundation interacts and has supported the initial development of Nexus Mutual, and how that sort of streamlines into how we do the DAO funding separately. We've got a bit about our values. So we decided to make sure that we're all working for the same mission and the same vision, but we're doing it in the same way, and that's how we're going to align the decentralized teams that are all working on the same thing to make sure that we're all sort of on the same page and doing it for the same reasons. So we think that we're paying claims makes us trustworthy. Being owned and governed by our members and allowing anyone to join means that we're egalitarian, and being founded to protect underserved communities and using that as our guiding vision helps us retain integrity in what we're doing. And all of that contributes to the fact that we're always working for the long-term sustainability of the mutual. So if we scroll down a little further, you'll see a bit more about our teams. You can link to the recent budget requests and what all the teams are working on, what their funding requests are and how they're spending it. And then a little bit more on DAO claims, where to find out about all the historic claims, what the process is like. The same with governance, and then that leads quite neatly into how to get involved, both as a member and as a member who can participate in risk sharing, as well as anyone who can contribute to the running of the DAO via a team or a project or proposing their own team. So there's plenty of resources at the bottom that links to all of the external and separate platforms that we have, and we see it very much as a work in progress, so that we can continue to share what we're working on and how we're doing it with the community. So in the future we hope to also put on there a bit more of a breakdown on our budget expenditure, a little bit more of a searchable database on previous claims and what happened, and a bit more background as to what was voted and why. And anything else in the future we'll be able to share with the community through this simple platform. So we're grateful for any feedback. If anyone wants to sort of share with us what they think, or if there's something missing or they want to contribute in any way, you can leave us a message on the Discord, or you can sign up to our weekly updates to find out any more about what's going on this page and beyond. And that's the quick overview. I don't think we'll go into any more detail here, but please, get in touch if there's anything further. And that's it from me, Sam.
Thanks, Kaylee. That was amazing. Thanks to all the contributors involved in making this happen. Next up, we have Brave, who will walk us through some of the recent progress in Nexus Mutual governance. Brave?
Hey everyone, I just wanted to give an update on some of the active governance items that have been on the forum, and I'll start with the on-chain vote for the Nexus Mutual Protocol Improvement Proposal 193. This was a discussion to deprecate custody cover and yield token cover. So these two cover products have been active respectively. Custody cover was launched in 2020. Yield token cover was launched in 2021. Both of them, for one reason or another, were good product types to be deprecated. For custody cover, there was a lack of transparency in the custodians that we were offering coverage for, which made it very hard to assess risk. We found that there was a high risk correlation in the market across the different custodians. And because of this, in the breakdown that was on the forum, in the RFC, and the NMPIP, you can see that the claims that we paid up for custody cover are higher than the cover fees that we brought in. And custody cover has represented about a third of the claims that we've paid out to date, while bringing in a much smaller share of cover fees over time. So for this reason, there was a proposal to deprecate custody cover that I wrote and posted on the forum. And then for yield token cover, this is something that is going to be replaced by a more scalable version called Cover Vaults, which is native coverage that people can just deposit into. The yield token cover product lacked adoption. It was kind of difficult for people to wrap their heads around, and we didn't see a lot of cover buys for it. While we wait for covered vaults to be finalized and launch, just deprecating that cover product to reduce some of the complexity there, and then just to reduce some of the choices that people see in the UI while we get ready for covered vaults. So this was put on chain for a vote on Monday, the 12th of June, and this closed on Thursday, the 15th of June. Members voted with unanimous approval to deprecate these two cover products. There was about 450,000 NXM that participated in this vote. And again, all of it voting to deprecate both of these covered products. The support that we saw on the forum indicated that members were in favor of deprecating these products, and then the vote showed the same outcome. The on-chain component of this proposal has been executed, so you're no longer going to see custody cover or yield token cover in the Nexus Mutual UI. People won't be able to buy cover for these cover product types anymore. And then anyone who is staking against this can reallocate any staked NXM to other cover products in the future, but they're effectively unstaked from these cover types at this moment in time. So just wanted to give a run through of this Nexus Mutual Protocol Improvement Proposal. You can find a more detailed summary on the forum in part 1 and part 2, which you can find in the thread in today's community calls channel as well. I'll move on and talk a little bit about the RFC on the forum to update the protocol cover wording. Over the last year, I'd say we've had various feedback from members on things that could be changed for the protocol cover wording. This is something that has been collected and then discussed among members, and also discussed internally among the Foundation and DAO teams. So Hugh and I worked on revising the protocol cover wording, and you can find in the RFC on the forum a summary of the changes that we proposed. You can see in detail there is a red line of the protocol cover wording V2, which is the proposed wording. And then you can also see a clean draft of that proposed wording. I have a breakdown in detail on the forum as well on some of the stats, claims paid out, covered fees earned to date, and then some of the loss events that have been covered under protocol cover V1, and some lessons that we've learned from there. I think the biggest takeaways are some of the main changes that we've seen or that have been proposed in this cover wording. Some of the big ones are economic design failure has been revised to be sudden and severe economic event. And then we've defined what is covered to remove any ambiguity for people who are buying cover or people who are assessing claims. So sudden and severe economic event includes oracle failure, governance attacks, and severe liquidation failures. There has been some changes to the cooldown period from 3 days to 14 days. We've seen that postmortems are usually issued between 7 to 12 days after a loss event happens, and then any discussions about potential reimbursement usually happens in a similar time frame. This isn't going to be a catch-all that encompasses every event, but we're hoping that most events this is inclusive of, so that when people are assessing claims or people are filing claims, they have guidance on the claim amount to request, and people can accurately assess claims by being able to review all of the information available about the attack. There's been a little bit more detail provided under exclusions. These are things that members have, I think, universally acknowledged as things that aren't covered, but just clarifying and clearly defining these in the cover wording. So we can't cover things on non-Ethereum virtual machine compatible chains. Any events that are resulting from a depeg of an asset are not covered. We've always talked about that protocol cover covers a loss of funds, but not a loss of value, and that provision just outlines that specifically. We've included an exclusion there about being unable to cover user interface or website errors, essentially front-end attacks, which again has been discussed before, but clearly outlining that. And then there's been more information provided under the claim amount section, which defines that your requested amount should reflect your actual loss. And there's guidance on that in there. And then we've provided some clarity on how loss is determined for sudden and severe economic events as well. So you can go through and look at all of this in detail. We've added a lot of definitions. And again, we've added a reimbursement section that outlines specifically how reimbursements are treated for people that file claims and have their claims approved by their members. So this RFC is going to transition to an NMPIP as of tomorrow. That'll be up for review for the next couple weeks. And then after July 9th, this will transition to an on-chain vote. Of course, I'll have announcements as we go through each stage of the governance process, but really wanted to give kind of an in-depth overview on the call, just because this is a very important proposal that is going forward. This changes protocol cover wording and kind of redefines what risks that we're willing to cover, those that are excluded, and then just better defining some of the language in the cover wording for people who are assessing claims and who are buying coverage to protect their assets. But I'll move on and talk a little bit about the DAO team's budget request. Now, again, these are in today's community calls channel. You can find these on the forum. There is a high-level proposal, which is that DAO team's budget request proposal. It's currently an RFC on the forum for anybody that wants to provide feedback. In here, we provide information on the mission of the mutual, the values, the roadmap, which Kaylee on Operations shared in the last 2 weeks. That'll give you a detailed breakdown of what both the foundation and DAO teams are focused on and the deliverables associated with some of our high-level objectives for the next 6 months. There is information about the various teams at a high level in this proposal, and then you can see the budget request. We've had a surplus from the last 6 months, so when we receive funding, it's all in WNXM, and then that is diversified over time to USDC to meet obligations as contractors and contributors are paid in either USDC or WNXM, and for long-term contributors, USDC and WNXM. So because of that, we have a surplus that we're using and rolling over to fund certain teams. So the investment committee, the operations team, and then the discretionary budget for the next 6 months is being pulled forward from that surplus, which is around $120,000. Of course, that's subject to market movements in the coming months, but you can see that high-level request and information about the surplus. And then if you want more detail on the performance from the last 6 months, from the priorities for the next 6 months ahead, and then the ongoing responsibilities and information about the team members for each team, and then a more itemized breakdown of the expenses that are projected for the next 6 months that make up each individual team's budget request, You can find those in that proposed team's priorities and 6-month budget breakdown. This is going to be open for review for I think a few more days this week. So this will be open for review until the 24th of June. Then this will transition to a Nexus Mutual DAO proposal, and that'll be open from comment for between the 1st of July and the 8th of July. And then after the 8th, this will be a proposal that transitions to a snapshot vote, which is going to be open between the 9th of July and the 14th of July. So looking forward to everyone's review and feedback on these two proposals, or these two forum posts that make up the one proposal. If anybody has any questions, you can reach out on the forum or you can reach out on Discord. Happy to answer any questions about this, but looking forward to members' review and any feedback or support on the forum. And then lastly, I'll talk a little bit about the investment committee. They have a call for comments this week. There have been some investment posts on the forum, and those have been open for comment for several weeks, some of them a little bit longer. And the investment committee wants a final call for comments because they're going to move these to snapshot signaling votes. So to be clear, any actionable votes need to happen on chain, but they're going to use signaling votes to see if members support these various proposals and certain specifics on the proposals. Those will go up next week. So there's an RFC for staking with Rocket Pool, one for restarting the Enzyme Vault and diversifying ETH across some staking providers. They proposed putting some with Kiln, and then when Stakewise V3 is live, allocating some of the 13,200 ETH held in the Enzyme Vaults between Stakewise V3 and Kiln. For Rocket Pool, like I'd mentioned, they're proposing 10% of the capital pool, which is 14,400 ETH. And then there's an RFC to utilize capital in the capital pool to deposit into Morpho, which is a peer-to-peer lending protocol that's built on top of Aave and Compound, their V2 and V3 markets. So looking for comments and feedback on these. If you support them, if you would like to see changes to these proposals, please put those on the forum in the next week. These are open for review between the 19th and the 25th of June, and then these will go to non-binding snapshot signaling votes on the 26th of June. Look for announcements from the investment committee once those snapshot votes are live, and we will share updates on Discord, in the hedge, and on the forum. So hopefully that insight on some of the governance process was helpful. Again, if you have any comments, please include those on the forum, and looking forward to comments and review for members of the mutual. And then you can reach out to anybody on the investment team in the investment channel within Discord here as well. So you can find that in the investment earnings channel in Discord. But I will hand things back over to you, Sam.
Thanks, Bray, for this useful recap. Next up, we have Claudio talking about our DAO marketing efforts. The stage is yours, Claudio.
Okay, thanks, Sam, for the intro. And hi, everyone. I will introduce myself briefly, given that it's the first time that I'm on stage on the community call. So I'm Claudio, and I joined Nexus Mutual a year ago, so in June last year. So it's been already some time, even though I've been a member of Nexus Mutual since the very beginning. Just for context, for the people who don't know me, I have over 10 years of experience in digital marketing roles, ranging from strategy and content planning to media buying and distribution. And I have deep interest in digital user acquisition flow and how marketing can really be used for that purpose across the organization. For today's update, I would like to share the current state of marketing at Nexus Mutual and highlight its direction to be a tool for growth. So previously, due to specific organizational consideration and priorities, we didn't really focus on marketing. But after the release of V2, it became crucial that marketing can be really leveraged for user acquisition across different audiences. So marketing basically aim to bring exposure not just at the brand level, but as well at product level. So whenever we want to bring more highlight to specific cover product that we aim to sell. Connected to this, there is a piece of work that has been done before the release of V2, that is the rebrand and the positioning of Nexus Mutual, specifically under two main angles. As we know, Nexus Mutual is the leading provider on chain protection. This is confirmed by the number of cover underwritten, that is the biggest one, like over 4 billion, but as well the claims that have been paid with over 70 million. But at the same time, the other angle that we want to highlight in the narrative of Nexus Mutual brand is the actual marketplace for risk. So it's the risk management infrastructure, giving opportunity to others to come and build on top their risk business. So we say marketing as a tool for growth. We gave a look to the rebrand, how we can position Nexus Mutual and the narrative that we can build around Nexus Mutual. Another important point is about the structure of marketing. Again, like such a small team that is experimenting a lot of stuff needs to have a flexible structure. So we are now at the stage that we are working with different ad hoc contributors specifically on the visual elements. So we are working with motion designer, graphic designer. All these are ad hoc contributors that can jump in and quickly bring their expertise to turn different concepts into content for the different tests that we want to drive for growth together with BD. And this leads into the next stage, which is content. I think it's very important for the marketing side of things that we produce more visual content that are able to speak to different audience, not just technical, but different audience in different placement. So those are really the main 4 points that I want to highlight for this update today, and more to come for sure in the next time.
Thank you, Claudio. This was a useful recap of all the efforts. I'm excited about what will come up next in marketing. Next up, we have Hugh with the weekly update from the foundation. Take it away, Hugh.
Hey everyone, thanks Sam. So quite a few things going on. One thing that you may have noticed, so just a few hours ago, we shipped a smart contract upgrade related to V2. So there's just several, I guess, smaller updates, just mainly around small bug fixes with like accounting and that type of thing, but also some smaller feature enhancements as well. We're going to put out a bit more of a detailed description of what's in there, but there's a whole bunch of small stuff there. So no, I guess nothing major, but quite a few smaller pieces that add up to quite a lot, and some useful things in there as well. One of the more important ones perhaps is when a cover expires, it doesn't immediately open up capacity, and that's due to kind of gas savings, etc. We kind of have to wait to the 28-day or bucket period has finished before the capacity is actually released. This feature gives us, or anyone, the ability to call a function to essentially open up capacity on an expired cover. Basically, if there's a big cover that it's expired and someone else wants to renew it or roll it, this was causing a few issues with some larger members buying decent covers, and so this will give us the ability to quickly open up that capacity when it should be available. So yeah, lots of other stuff happening there. We'll come back with more detail on that. I guess more broadly, we continue on the sales side, on the growth side, we continue to focus on slashing coverage primarily, and also looking to grow out the protocol cover by kind of DAO to DAO stuff, native protocol cover to teams and stuff like that. So those are the two main pushes we're doing at the moment. There's a few slashing deals in the pipeline that they have been in the pipeline for a little while, but they should be executing over the coming weeks. So keep an eye out for that. I think the other thing that's quite important that you should keep an eye on is things like Sherlock. So Sherlock rolled all of their cover buys, I think yesterday. So that type of relationship is really important, because it's kind of a continual, regular cover buy that that Sherlock are making based on their underlying coverage. And so partnerships like that take a while to establish, but they definitely kind of, I guess, make sense in the longer term because they're very sticky, and so there's some good deals like that coming in the pipeline as well. So that's quite exciting. I guess the other aspect probably worth commenting on, I guess briefly, is tokenomics. So again, lots of work this week. Ray's been putting out the weekly updates, which has been very helpful. So check out the forum if you'd like a more detailed update on things. The tech spec's coming together quite nicely. We have one question or point that we're still kind of working through a little bit of detail on. I won't go into the massive detail right now because it is quite technical, but we just want to make sure that that actually works properly, and we're doing some more simulations on that. But everything's going quite well, and the tech spec and stuff's coming along nicely, and there's like getting strawman code happening and stuff like that. So lots of good progress on the tokenomics side as well. Those are probably the main items I've got this week. Obviously, happy to take questions now or later. So yeah, just reach out if you've got anything there. And do comment on the investment RFCs that are out there. They're quite important. So yeah, if you've got any views, please get on the forums. Thank you.
Thanks, Hugh. Now let's look at our weekly analysis for the past week. In the last week, we had about $14 million of cover sold and earned about $36,000 of fees, which is double the amount since the last community call that we had 2 weeks ago. Looking at active coverage, we have $57 million of active cover. Protocol cover is again leading the list, with custody cover following it, but as Brave highlighted before, custody cover and yield token cover will be deprecated, so expect more product and partnerships here in this list in the future. Now let's go over the discussions on the forum as a last item on the agenda. We have exciting developments on the cover products end, which is a new category on the forum. Check out the renewed protocol cover wording that Brave highlighted previously on the call, and also look at the strategy on new product types penned by Hugh. It is kickstarting an important discussion among members on how to develop business and products in the mutual. We have a number of active RFCs. As Brave previously highlighted, please take a look within this week and give any input that you might have before they turn into signaling votes. A tokenomics update from Ray, as Hugh highlighted, has some important updates about how the team is progressing with the modeling and the implementation. And as shared in the previous call, we have updates from staking pool managers and a grant proposal, which members are welcome to review. Now it's time for the open forum. If there are no other open items to discuss or any questions, we will close this call today. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great rest of the week.